All right, welcome back to our coverage of the catastrophic flooding along the Guadalupe River, and it's rising quickly right now at Spring Branch. Now, typically we get readings from the river gauges about every 15 minutes and at least every 30 minutes. I haven't gotten a report since 9 p.m. I can't find the report. I'm not sure what the situation is, but I know it is significantly and quickly rising at Spring Branch, and that's this area right here north of Bulverde, between Blanco and Bulverde. 281, Spring Branch, crosses over the Guadalupe River. Now here's what I have, and notice how let me move the cursor. I need to put it back full screen for you. This is the hydrograph for the Guadalupe River near Spring Branch, and I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit, pop it full screen, and look at this little gap in the data here. The last reading we have is 9 p.m. and now we're forecasted to be up over 30 feet right now. I just don't have a reading. I don't know if the gauge got knocked offline or if something happened to the gauge or what the case is, but we do have a crew there, and so hopefully they'll be able to report back with the situation. But the river is likely to come up to an over 281 over the next couple of hours as the river continues to rise quickly at 281 in Spring Branch. As for going rainfall, that's not the story right now. Yeah, there's some light rain out there, but that's not really going to make the flood situation any worse. What we're talking about is this swell of water that's been moving downstream along the Guadalupe and is going to end up in Canyon Lake. Now, Canyon Lake should be able to absorb this punch and swell of water just fine because it's at only 46% full. So we're not really concerned with any issues at the dam of Canyon Lake or even on the shores of Canyon Lake. There's going to be a water rise, but it should be able to take that blow. More rain showers and thunderstorms likely as we get into tomorrow. I'd say any time from sunrise to sunset, we could see some development. I know some of the newer computer models are hinting toward the afternoon. That could be the case, but bottom line, some heavy downpours somewhere potentially in the hill country or even into San Antonio as we get into tomorrow, particularly afternoon. Could lead to some localized flooding and flash flooding. We're going to have another update in just a minute.
Live from KSAT 12, the Nightbeat starts right now.
What I can confirm at this point, we're at about 24 fatalities. We're not going to be giving any names out at this time. We're still notifying next of kin. Also, I've been notified one fatality has been found in Kendall County. I cannot say it's related to this incident at this time, but we'll let y'all know when we find out more information.
But right now, one of the questions that we're asking is how many people are missing or unaccounted for, and those state leaders who spoke in a news conference about 45 minutes ago still don't have that answer for us. So you're looking at images there from the devastating flooding that we've seen throughout the day. Heavy rain caused that flooding throughout the Texas Hill Country. We're talking it was so damaging that it even washed away homes near Kerrville, Ingram, Hunt, and so many other places.
Many people still missing tonight. Officials again confirming those 25 fatalities. But more people could be discovered. We know that over 200 people have been rescued, more than half of those, 167 rescues, being made by helicopter.
And those helicopters are still flying out there right now, trying to pull people from wherever they are. Tonight, we're continuing to follow the latest developments all across the Hill Country and also where dangerous conditions still are right now. We're going to send things on over to Garrett Berger, who has been covering all of this happening in Kerrville throughout the day. Garrett, give us the latest.
The deaths will now rise to 24 deaths.
As you've heard, there are now 24 confirmed fatalities in this flood, possibly another one downstream over in Kendall County, but we know at least 24 people have died, and that number could very easily rise. Search and rescue operations will continue through the night, into the morning, into the next day, 24/7, state officials say, until they have everyone accounted for. How many people that is right now, we don't know. This was a crowded holiday weekend. There's a lot of campsites along along the river. There are multiple camps for children. That's one of the big problems here. So they don't know exactly how many people are missing. We only know how many people they found so far. Now with this flood, the water rose so quickly, so severely, many are wondering how we didn't know about it. Now state officials had said there were talks warning local officials that there could be flooding ahead of time, but they say it was not expected to be to this degree. Here's Nim Kidd.
The State Emergency Operations Center started having daily briefings yesterday on the potential for flood for all of this part of Texas, from here out to San Angelo and Abilene and further out. We have been in contact with local officials, and at some point in time in the future, we're happy to share those emails and contact information of what we had shared. But listen, everybody got the forecast from the National Weather Service, right? You all got it. You're all in media. You got that forecast. It did not predict the amount of rain that we saw.
Search and rescue missions afoot from almost every agency from Texas National Guard.
Now, of course, right now, search and rescue operations still continuing. We asked where they're looking. It sounds like it's about 30 miles upstream to the west of Kerrville. So that's where they say most of the damage is, west of Kerrville. That would take it up towards Hunt and Ingram. A lot of those areas we've been hearing had been the hardest hit. We heard specifically about Camp Mystic. That's the all-girls summer camp. And it still sounds like there are roughly 23 to 25 unaccounted people at that camp. Not entirely clear if those are staffers, campers, a mix of them. But that is one of the biggest question marks as people are continuing to search. Earlier in the day, unfortunately, we went to a local funeral home where we did see lots of families coming through. There's a setup where they're trying to help people, they're trying to identify some of the people who have been killed in the flood so far. We don't have any identities of the people killed, but from what we were able to gather at that site, children are among those who died. We do not have any names at this time, and unfortunately, that number, already too high, is very likely to go even higher. Live in Kerrville, I'm Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
Garrett, thank you. Gosh, this has just been such a heartbreaking day as those families have been waiting since before daybreak when all of this started unfolding. And they're waiting to find out where their kids are tonight. People waiting to know if, their children who might have been camp counselors or staff members at this camp as well. Here's what we do know. 10 to 12 inches of rain in Kerr County so far has fallen. At least 25 people dead, one of those in Kendall County, as Garrett mentioned. 237 people rescued. Those rescues will continue overnight. The Red Cross has set up shelters. They are helping people reunify with their loved ones. If you don't know where your loved one is, they're putting out this number, 1-800-733-2767, to give them a call. And, Garrett mentioned Camp Mystic. If you're not familiar with this area, the Guadalupe River in the hill country, there are 18 different camps that first responders, local officials say that they have been in contact with today who were in some way affected by this flood. But Camp Mystic tonight, that all-girls camp right on the river, that is the one where there are 23 to 25 missing people this evening, and they seem to be the camp in that area that has been impacted the most by this devastating flooding. Meantime, Comal County has issued a statement as we have watched other areas outside of the hill country be affected by all of the water flowing downstream. Comal County advising that people who live in low-lying areas near the Guadalupe River between the Kendall and Comal County line and Canyon Lake should evacuate. They were telling people this hours ago today. The river is expected to rise. We'll get a check with Adam Caskey here in a minute. It is rising as we speak. This is happening in darkness. This is why people, first responders, were telling folks, and we were passing on the message earlier today, get away from the river. So many people gathered there at campsites, houses along the river to be there for the 4th. Engineers say they looked in at the dam in Canyon Lake. We were told it was safe, but it is all those other areas downstream from the hill country that we are just watching for that continued threat tonight.
Okay, and the other thing that we want to do is go to our Adam Caskey, because he has been telling us about that all day, about a bulk of the attention we have been giving to Kerrville, naturally, because that's where we saw so much damage and destruction. But now now that it's dark, we're seeing all of the areas downstream in the Guadalupe River where we're seeing flooding in that area. Now we're going to send things on over to Adam Caskey, because the river, the floodwaters are rising right now as we speak. You just said so. Yeah, and I don't have an official observation. Typically, these observations are every 15 minutes from these river gauges. And if you look really closely in the upper left, the last report was at 9 a.m. when it was at about 2 feet. The Guadalupe River, this is at Spring Branch. We haven't had an observation since. Makes me start to wonder if that gauge was knocked offline or lost communication, or if something happened to it. But bottom line is, we should be up over 30 feet right now, and then over the next few hours crest at about 38 feet. And that would be 11 feet higher than back in 1998 when the water was covering Highway 281. So I do anticipate Highway 281 to be covered by the water, and the water to rise up over the bridge in that area. But again, the last observation we have was from 9 p.m. and this could very well have risen over 30 feet in just the last hour. So hopefully we can get some new data from that gauge. And of course, that forecast from the National Weather Service, NOAA, they've got a great river network of gauges and forecasts in place. So this is how much rain fell. Of course, we're focusing on western Kerr County at the headwaters of the Guadalupe River. And I mean, we're talking astonishing 13 inches of rain, up to 13 inches of rain, estimated by Doppler radar. And then the swell of water has just been coming downstream and continues to now make it into Spring Branch. And that's why I'm concerned about Spring Branch, and we don't have that water level, because we don't know just how high it is right now. We do have a crew nearby, and hopefully we can get to them and get some new information. But this swell of water is the story now, as it's rising really quickly right here along the Guadalupe River, 281, and then it's rushing eastward and is going to soon, over the next few hours, be spilling into Canyon Lake, which should be able to take that, absorb that swell of water. As for tomorrow, we've got the rain chances high again, around 60%, and where they set up is a question mark. It could be anywhere in the hill country to I-35 or even over San Antonio. But anytime during the daylight hours tomorrow, some downpours are possible. These heavy tropical downpours that can really add up to several inches of rain. So that's what we're watching for tomorrow. Then things calm down quite a bit on Sunday. All right, Adam, thank you so much for that. You just mentioned us having a crew over in Spring Branch, and that is our colleague Zaria Oates, we're going to have to rely on her narrating skills because it's so dark out there right now. But Zaria, if you can hear us, let's go to you right now. Can you describe what you're seeing and also tell us where you are?
So right now we're just off of 281, and by just off of, I mean between the north and southbound lanes. These people right now are heading south towards San Antonio. There are much less amount of people going into the Spring Branch area, further into that area. Spring Branch Road, we're told by someone who spoke with DPS earlier that they're already starting to see some higher water levels. And if you were with us earlier in the day around 5:30 p.m., we were over in Spring Branch and we showed you just how low those roads went. Now, one of the things you mentioned was just how dark it is out here and how we need to show you how dark it is and how big of an issue that can be for the people driving out of here. So I'm going to ask our photographer, Ricardo, to go ahead and turn these lights off just so you can see exactly how dark it is. There are no lights out here. It is pitch black. So you can go ahead and turn them back on. We don't want to be in the dark for too long. But that is a really big factor, especially because the water is expected to come up about 10 feet above where this bridge is. And that bridge just behind me, it's not any lower than what you can see. It's exactly what it looks like right behind me. The water is expected to come up 10 feet higher. Now, a lot of people were skeptical about how bad this will be, and some of them still are skeptical. What we can tell you is that I just spoke with a firefighter who said he was out there by another bridge overlooking Guadalupe River, and he said that the water was rising so high he was shocked. He hasn't seen something like this before, and it's already starting to cover the tree line in another area down on Spring Branch Road. So it's coming this way. It's expected to come fast. So if you are in this area, you need to get out of this area quickly. Evacuate if you can. If you can't evacuate to another city, try to get on a high ground, but please, if you can, evacuate. Earlier, we were out by a man's land on Whispering Water Drive. We've since left that area because if the water does come quickly, that is an area that could face some serious challenges, especially because he said he built his house so high above the land to prevent issues like this. But even the last time that they had some serious flooding in this area, he still had issues. He had about 5 feet of water in his garage, and his home is about 3 feet above the land, 3 feet above where this bridge is. So that's still above the road level, and he was still seeing some of those issues. So we're expecting more water this time to come up. We are asking you to evacuate if you can, and if you can't, please get to a safe space immediately. We will continue to monitor this situation. Here's some of the sound that we got from some people we spoke with earlier.
Yes, I'm evacuating because the fire department came by and said that the water on the Guadalupe River is going to reach 10 foot over the bridge. I just want to say, listen to what the local police and fire department have to say and go by that, and don't take chances.
And he said it was pretty serious for him to give this message to us because he hasn't had to evacuate before. He hasn't felt the need to, even with that water coming into his garage during a previous flood. So a lot of people who haven't evacuated in the past are telling us that they will be evacuating. So if you're able to, please get out of the Spring Bridge area before this gets really bad. We'll continue to monitor this situation both on air and online. Live in Spring Branch, I'm Zaria Oates.
Zaria, make sure that you and Ricardo are safe in that area. We know that our meteorologists have been telling you how quickly this water is going to rise. I appreciate everything you guys are doing, but do not take any chances out there. We want you guys to stay safe along with everybody else. Thank you.
So now we want you to take a look at that video right there. Obviously, it was taken hours ago. This is rescue teams that you see going door to door. They're checking out abandoned homes. And what they're doing is basically looking for survivors or potential victims. And after each search, you see them right there with the spray can, because what they do is they mark the house with spray paint to show other rescuers that that home is clear, so they don't waste their time and checking these homes. But obviously, really just sad situation, because you could imagine people are just looking for a safe place to be. And I have to think, what about people who are unhoused? Where have they been able to go today? Sure. So obviously these are questions that we're going to continue to ask.
Yeah, I just have to imagine the ominous feeling as people eventually are returning to their homes and seeing those markings on doorways and the various things that they mean. We showed you earlier, just a few minutes ago, that helicopter that was landing at a local high school there, bringing kids, people who were missing, reunifying them with families. This is video of a helicopter rescue. I mean, you can see how hard the rain is coming down. This was in the thick of this weather event. A woman being pulled out of a tree. This is one of the 167 people rescued by helicopter today. We know that 5 helicopters with hoists have been used to carry out missions just like this, and 3 more are on the way en route to assist in all of these rescue efforts.
So now we also want to give you an idea, because we've been focused so much on Kerr County, but there are a number of other counties that are under a disaster declaration, which Governor Greg Abbott signed this evening. That's Bandera, Comal, Concho, Gillespie, Kendall, Kerr, Kimball, Llano, Mason, McCullough, Menard, Reeves, San Saba, and also Tom Green. But when the governor spoke an hour ago and he listed all of those counties that are under a disaster declaration, he was like, hold on, this is a living list, because we could be adding more locations to that list.
Yeah, there's a lot that we're expecting to still change, even though we are well beyond 12 plus hours since all of this has been going on, 17 now at this point. But we're continuing to bring you the very latest here. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Welcome back. You know, this has been a very long day for people all over Texas and all over the nation, as all eyes are on in the Hill Country right now, where we've seen devastating flooding today. It's been a lot of agony for families, and that period has come to an end for some of them, at least in the Hill Country, because they're being reunited with their loved ones, and some of whom were separated because of the flooding. Yeah, that agony and anxiety is continuing, though, for others. Meantime, our Katrina Weber is standing by live outside of Ingram Elementary. We've had eyes really on this location, Katrina, throughout the day. This is where some reunifications we understand are still happening. What are you seeing out there right now?
Well, that's right. We have seen, as recently as about 10 minutes ago, children coming out with their parents. Understandably, they are making a beeline for their cars. It seems like they have just in their minds that they want to get home. We've been asked to stay back here to keep our distance and let them do what they have to do, to let them just digest this moment as they are reunited with their loved ones. It's all going on back here. There's a whole process to this. Now, a little while ago, we stopped by Tom Moore High School, which is about 1.5 miles away from here, and an officer there explained the whole process. People are coming in there, people, many of whom have been rescued, are coming in there by helicopter, he said, by truck, by car, whatever means, and they're getting checked for their IDs. They're making identifications of those people, and then they're loading them up on buses, and we have seen several school buses come through here in this parking lot. They're bringing them here to the elementary school where they are then reunited with their loved ones. And as I mentioned, we have seen families come out of here. Everyone seems the thing that they have on their mind is just to get themselves together and to go home. And so we are just keeping our distance and allowing them to, again, to digest this moment, to deal with what is really a traumatic experience that many of them have been through today. So we are going to stay here as long as it takes, because it seems like these buses keep coming and we keep seeing people come out of here. So we will bring you more on this later on. Reporting live in Ingram, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Honestly, Katrina, I feel like that's good news. If we keep seeing buses coming, we keep seeing kids get off of them and parents make that beeline to their cars, I would be doing the exact same thing. So thank you for your reporting out there, and we'll check back in, you know, as the night goes and as things develop. Thanks, Katrina. Now, earlier today, we were able to see kids from Camp Mystic being reunited with their families. This was that same area where we just saw Katrina. Obviously, this video shot during the day. A lot of trucks, ambulances. We watched parents and caregivers, loved ones walking hand in hand with their kids. And you just have to think about the relief that those parents who were able to grab the hand of their little one and take them home, what they got to be feeling now that they are home with their loved ones. And we just want to keep our minds and keep our focus and attention on the families who don't have answers yet tonight and those who are still waiting. And again, we did hear that first responders are staying in this area until they find everybody. And hopefully, like we said, we keep seeing those buses come to Ingram Elementary tonight. Fingers are crossed for that. Now we want to show you a list of shelters that have been set up for people who have been affected. We know that these are just the shelters in Comfort. There are many more, but this is in Comfort. The two shelters there are Comfort High School and the Emmanuel Lutheran Church. Those are places that have been set up. And then we have this list of shelters over in Kerrville. They're at Calvary Temple Church, Notre Dame Catholic Church, Shriner University, and First United Methodist Church. Now, reunification centers for those who were or are still missing also set up. These are the places that where we've really been focusing on as well. We had Daniela Ibarra outside one of them today, and then we just heard also from Katrina Weber. Now, Ingram Elementary School, that's one of the reunification centers in Ingram, and then we have Arcadia Live, that is in Kerrville. It's a list that you can also find
on our website, and we are continuing to update that list as soon as we learn more information about shelters and also reunification centers. But we can only hope, and you just said this, that the number that we keep seeing those buses going to those reunification centers, because that is a good sign.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to turn our attention to what is yet to come, the forecast. We're going to take a look outside with live cam right now. This is a look from here in San Antonio. San Antonio has not been at the heart of this today. Flooding was not a risk for us here in the city of San Antonio. But Adam, a lot of people in San Antonio watching what's been happening in the Hill Country, other areas downstream from that. We did just get a quick update from our Zaria Oates that said an EMT went and looked at the river and said it's a heck of a lot higher right now in that Spring Branch area, and that's what you've been talking about all day.
And it's happening fast right now in Spring Branch. That's the thing. And then everybody between Spring Branch and Canyon Lake, it's going to be happening fast momentarily. I mean, it's rising quickly. So we have our crew basically right along 281 here, Spring Branch, right along the Guadalupe River. Here we are, right along the Guadalupe River. And the gauge is just right here, just downstream a little bit. And the gauge is still reading a low level, but that's going to be changing quickly. And this is likely to crest at about 38 feet just over the next couple of hours. And keep in mind, that's up from 2 feet. So the level at 2 feet, you're talking, maybe up to your calves, and that's about it, opposed to 38 feet that we're expecting. Now, this is the Guadalupe River, shown in blue right here, and we saw it rise over 40 feet at Amon's Crossing earlier today. It rose at over 40 feet in just a matter of several hours, and now it's all flowing west to east, basically left side of your screen to the right side of your screen, and then into Canyon Lake. Now, keep in mind, Canyon Lake is 46% full, so it should be able to take a swell of water that's coming the way. But the other issue too, I do anticipate 281 to be covered by water. And not only that, a lot of debris in the water. And the truss bridge on the southbound bridge for 281 over the Guadalupe and Spring Branch, that with all the debris, the logs, the tree trunks, the sticks, the just general damage could get dammed up right along that bridge at 281, and then that can also make the situation even worse than what we're seeing right now with the rising of the water. Okay, really quickly, our futurecasts. I mentioned before, we are anticipating more showers and storms to develop tomorrow. Now, that would be anytime during the daylight hours. Anytime in the daylight hours, we could have some downpours pop up, and even some downpours that then would be in the same places and not move very quickly. Now, I know right now, this computer model in particular is saying closer to Austin. I tell you what, it could be anywhere on the screen here. Anywhere on the map here could have areas of heavy rain and downpours on the order of several inches possible in localized areas. So we have to watch out for flash flooding tomorrow, and even the potential for some more river flooding. And even in San Antonio, some downpours could lead to some flash flooding. Remember, the ground is a lot more saturated, and the water can rise very quickly, especially in the typically flood-prone spots. So that's something to watch for tomorrow. As for rainfall accumulations, it's going to be like today. It didn't rain in some parts of the KSAT 12 viewing area. You just saw a trace of rain, whereas, of course, in western Kerr County, we had about 13 inches estimated by radar. Then by tomorrow evening, it all tapers off, and we finally get a little bit more push in the upper levels of our atmosphere to get the showers and storms moving on a little bit more. Quick look at our extended forecast. We get into Sunday, much quieter day, 20% chance. Same with Monday and Tuesday, just isolated pop-ups, that's it. So really, the swell of water right now moving into Spring Branch, soon thereafter Canyon Lake. Everybody east of Canyon Lake, from Canyon Lake to New Braunfels, it's just fine. Now, they'll be letting some water out of Canyon Lake, but it's not the flooding situation that we have upstream along the Guadalupe.
All right, yeah, we're glad that Canyon Lake is as low as it is so it can catch all of this. Adam, you've been talking about that all day. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.